Today, we've got a really fascinating set of sources you sent over, all about a massive career pivot. We're talking about the entrepreneurial journey of Yulia EMELYANOVA.
Yeah, this one is a great story.
Our mission here isn't just to, walk through the timeline of her career. We want to really analyze the strategic move she made to go from a secure corporate job to founding the Blackline Studio Group and becoming really a huge innovator in the permanent makeup world.
And this is exactly the kind of story we love to unpack. It's such a perfect case study of turning a personal passion into a community-driven brand. You can see this moment where she realizes that stability just isn't enough.
Right.
And that leads to this chain of, I'd say, very calculated risks and this absolute commitment to mastering her craft. She didn't just start a business, she built it from day one on the idea of being the best.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're starting with Yulia EMELYANOVA. She was born in Siberia back in 1985. Eventually, she makes her way to southern France and builds a life there.
A good life by most standards.
Exactly. By 2018, she has what most people would call success. You know, a solid corporate white-collar job.
Mm-hmm.
But the sources use one word that just changes everything. Unfulfilled.
And that word, that lack of fulfillment, that's the trigger for everything that follows. The sources are really specific about this. She had this deep sensitivity to aesthetics, to beauty, fashion.
Things her desk job just couldn't satisfy.
And not at all. It
Yeah.
wasn't just about wanting a change. It was a fundamental misalignment between her career and, her core identity. And that's what forced what the sources call the radical decision.
And when she makes that decision in 2018, it is not a slow burn. It's a full-on, immediate pivot. She just abandons that corporate stability to follow her passion.
Radical is definitely the right word because she didn't just sign up for a local course. She left her stable life and immediately made this massive high stakes investment in her own knowledge.
Right.
To get to the cutting edge of permanent makeup, she actually travels all the way back to Russia for training. She deliberately found what the sources call one of the best institutions in the world.
Okay, so why Russia?
Yeah.
Strategically, wouldn't it have been easier to just find training in France?
Well, that's the brilliant part. That's the knowledge arbitrage strategy right there. In these super niche technical fields, expertise is often clustered geographically.
Hmm.
Russia and parts of Eastern Europe, they've been leaders in pigment technology for a long time.
realized her passion was her vocation.
And once that clicks psychologically, the business just explodes. The sources say the growth was like moving at 200 kilometer.
That's when she starts hiring her first team. That sounds risky. Like, how do you control quality? How do you avoid burnout?
That's the critical question, right? And the sources point to two things. First, that initial training in Russia set a standard that was just non-negotiable. If you joined her team, you had to meet that bar.
Okay.
And second, those perfectionaments became part of the company culture. It wasn't just her personal thing anymore. Continuous learning was baked into Blackline Studio. So by always mastering the hardest techniques, she made sure the whole team was at the top of their game. It's how you scale without sacrificing quality.
That focus on quality is what lets her scale beyond just the service business. So let's talk about that next step. From practitioner to, really, a market leader. Yeah. Later in 2019, she makes a huge move by officially introducing as pigments to the French market.
This is such a critical moment. Her role completely shifts here from just providing a service to being an industry authority and a distributor.
By becoming the As Pigments France ambassador.
Exactly. And that move accomplishes two things at once. First, it cements her own credibility. I mean, pigment choice is everything in this field. For a major brand to pick you as their ambassador, it means they trust your expertise 100%.
And the second thing, it's just a brilliant business move, right, for diversifying revenue. She's not just making money from her time with clients anymore.
Precisely. She's now monetizing her credibility by selling the exact products she uses and vouches for. It instantly adds a product-based income stream to her service-based one.
And it positions Blackline Studio as this hub for other professionals.
The central hub. If you were a professional, you'd go there for the best pigments and eventually for the best training. She was practicing, training, and sharing knowledge all at the same time. She became an industry tastemaker.
This all leads up to a big structural change in September 2021. The sources say the Blackline Studio Group officially becomes two separate entities.
And that split is so important for branding and for long-term growth. The core operation is still the service cabinet, Blackline Studio. That's where they do the premium procedures.
But the second part, the e-commerce platform Pigments & Co., that's what really cemented the brand's future, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And we have to be clear, the sources define Pigments & Co. as way more than just an online shop.
Right. It's not just about selling products.
Not at all. If you look at her whole strategy, Pigments & Co. is the engine for her community. It's described as a door into our community of fulfilled professionals. Yes, it handles the supply chain, it offers great products, but its real purpose is knowledge sharing.
So it's like a closed-loop system. Professionals buy from Pigments & Co. because they trust the quality set by Blackline Studio.
And by buying in, they join a community where they can get access to all that advanced knowledge that Yulia has been gathering through her constant professional.
It's genius. It also leverages her expertise without her having to be physically present for every single procedure. It lets her scale her knowledge.
It turns a practitioner's skill set into a scalable product. Knowledge and access to the best tools. And that foundation of trust and community, that's what allowed them to make the ultimate leap, to become innovators themselves.
And now we jump ahead. We're moving from selling other people's products to creating their own. The sources point to the 2025 launch of Micron. This is the moment the brand evolves from a service provider into an originator.
This is the absolute apex of their journey. Micron is called an absolute innovation. It shows that all those years of high-level experience, starting with that trip to Russia, it led to insights that the big manufacturers were missing.
So what makes Micron so different in an already crowded market?
The key phrase is that they're described as the first intuitive pigments for permanent makeup.
Intuitive pigments. What does that mean exactly?
Well, in this industry, color theory can be super complicated. Practitioners have to mix pigments and try to predict how they'll heal and settle into the skin. Intuitive suggests that this pigment system just simplifies all that. It gives you more predictable, streamlined color results.
Which would save professionals time and reduce risk for the client.
A huge amount of time and risk. And in the aesthetics world, trust is everything.
So is this innovation legitimate? Do the sources confirm that?
They do. It specifically says the brand has already gotten all the necessary certificates, and that is a massive regulatory hurdle to clear. It proves the product is safe, stable, and high quality, which is exactly what you need to earn the trust of that professional community she works so hard to build.
And it sounds like it paid off. The timeline ends with Micron making a buzz in the permanent makeup world. It's the ultimate validation of that one radical decision she made back in 2018.
It really is.
To go from betting her life savings on a small service cabinet to literally setting new industry standards with her own product.
So if we just, summarize the whole strategy for you, the listener, Yulia's journey is this incredible template for high-reward entrepreneurship. It wasn't luck. It was systematic. She performed knowledge arbitrage, taking the world's best training back to a demanding market.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And then she scaled that knowledge by building a community Hub Pigments echo around quality and shared expertise.
It's a completely integrated system. And the sources are really clear that even with all this success, the e-commerce platform, the launch of Micron, this is only the beginning for the group. That commitment to constant improvement means they never stop.
Which brings up a really important question for you to think about, especially when you consider that initial sacrifice she made. If investing every single penny you have, with no guarantee of success, is the price you have to pay to follow a passion that becomes your life's work, how do you even begin to measure the value of fulfillment against the comfort of corporate stability? When you look back at her story, what moment stands out to you as the riskiest and maybe the most